let's get started, Frank.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's kick this off.
I'm really excited. I thought it was appropriate for us to do this first live with you because you're the one that introduced New American Funding to me. And so I wanted to share that story, wanted to talk a little bit about Latino Focus, some of the initiatives that we're working on for this year, and just really just overall, I thought it was super appropriate because we love NAF and we're both very passionate about lending and helping the underserved communities. And so with that said, I'd love to hear your story on how you started with New American Funding, how you met Patty, and kind of like your journey with NAF.
Sure, sure. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to share the same platform here with you. And yeah, I mean, as far as my story, I started with New American Funding back in 2000. It was actually February.
Wow.
February of 2000 was when I started.
Oh my God, it's going to be your 22nd anniversary.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. So yeah, it's been a little while. It's been a little while. And back when I started, there were just 7 people here. It was basically Rick, Patty, Patty's sister, Robert Painter, which has been always the top. So he was here. Alma, I don't know if you ever met Alma Mercado. She's our lead office manager here at corporate. So she was here even before that. And a couple of other loan officers. I don't know if you ever met Nate Kuchera.
Yeah, of course. He did my loan.
Yeah, so Nate was here and myself. So that was the original core group. Yeah, back in 2000. And I mean, the reason that Rick and Patty hired me was basically to take on an influx of Spanish-speaking leads that Rick started generating. Okay.
But you answered an ad.
Yes. So the ad was, it was in the Penny Saver, which is basically a throwaway newspaper. I don't know if you guys have the Penny Saver in Texas.
Yeah. Well, not anymore, but we did.
So I picked up the Penny Saver one day. This was back in 2000, February 2000. And I mean, there it was. It was a 3-line ad that said, make 10K a month, must speak Spanish, no experience necessary. So I go, that's amazing. That's all me, right? I want to make 10 grand a month. I speak Spanish and I've got no experience. So this is perfect. So anyway, I picked up the phone, I dialed the 7 digits, and Rick answers. And he just got questions about ethics, because all I kept saying is, hey, I don't have any experience. You guys said 10,000 a month, no experience, so I'm calling. And I speak Spanish. And he's all, oh yeah, we know, thank you for calling. But we want to tell you more about the business and how important it is to us to be very ethical. You're going to be dealing with people's livelihood here, with their finances. And all I kept saying is, hey, the way that I was always raised to do the right thing, especially with our people, with the Hispanic culture market. So I already had that mindset from back then. So Rick was like, we love that. That's what we're looking for. Can you come into for an interview on Friday? This was like during the week when I called in. So I show up for the interview. I sat down. Rick and Patty both started drilling me with different scenarios and different questions. Yeah. And I was like, wow, what the heck am I getting into here? I had no idea what the mortgage business was. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I just came in blind, right? Wow. And so they sat me down, and all I kept saying is, hey, I don't have any experience, but for 10,000 a month, I'll do whatever you ask.
That's a lot of money. That's still a lot of money.
Oh yeah, back then, I mean, 10,000. Even today, 10,000 a month is still a good earning. But back then, yes, it was a really good amount. So anyway, they were all like, well, we like your energy, we like your enthusiasm. Can you start on Monday? And I go, sure, let's do it. Again, for 10,000 a month, I'll start now. And they're like, no, go day job of 4 years. Go give them your resignation, your formal resignation, which I did. I went back immediately. I think this was like a lunch meeting.
Wow.
And my previous employer was down the street in Newport Beach. So I went back, gave my notice. Obviously, they were shocked because I was an employee for 4 years I used to be a dental lab manager.
For
No,
4 years.
nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with mortgage, nothing to do with sales. Okay, none of that. I had no background in sales or anything like that. And I took the leap of faith. I took the leap of faith into with Rick and Patty and New American Funding at the time, and the rest is history. And it's been an amazing journey because I really, from the minute that I came on to New American Funding, I really felt at home. I really felt at home because of the passion for the Hispanic home ownership initiatives that Patty had way back when. Okay, because we always talk about that. Even though our Latino Focus Committee formalized in 2013, I mean, her and I have been working on this literally for decades. And then Patty's background goes back to the 90s, where she had a similar role that I have now at New American Funding, but with Countrywide. Okay, so she was already dealing with multicultural initiatives in the 90s. So when her and I united in 2000 and we went on this journey, I mean, it was amazing. To me, it was incredible because I was in a position to really impact people's lives, help them with a refinance or with a purchase loan. And the beauty to me is that it was all done in Spanish. And I just felt really super comfortable helping all these borrowers. I mean, I was the #1 ILA for almost 10 years. And Rick would be blown away.
To people, explain what ILA means, just so, or not a full explanation, but.
Sure. So at New American Funding, we've got 2 channels of production, basically. We've got ILA and we've got OLA. ILA are the inside loan agents. OLA is the outside loan agents. Yeah. The difference being that the inside loan officers basically just live and thrive off of company provided leads.
Right.
And OLA were all self-generated. Okay, so for 10 years, I was just taking those leads left and right, and they were all Spanish. And for a long time, I had the highest conversion ratios, knowing that typically, historically, Hispanics are harder to close over the phone. Okay, because as you know, they want to meet face to face. They want to do that type of process during the loan process, which is understandable because it's new for so many people and they're really new to the process. But I just discovered that I was pretty good at it. I was pretty good at building the trust, building the rapport over the phone. And I just loved it because to me, all it was just having a conversation with a friend and educating them. Okay.
And that's something that you can't fake it. Like you talk the talk, you walk the walk, we know how to communicate with them. And I think that that's something that resonates, like you said, since like Patty started this initiative so long ago to now. So I can see why you were converting so many loans.
Absolutely. And again, so we had a really good run for almost 10 years, knocking it out of the park. Fast forward to 2012, that's when New American Funding evolved into more of a multiple branch type of business model, which is what we have now. Because for at least 10, 11 years, we were just one office in Orange County. And honestly, it was primarily a call center. Okay. Right. And then 2012 comes around, Sam Ellsworth, a good friend of both of ours, comes along. And I was referred to Sam as the architect of the New American Funding branch network.
Wow.
He came on board. That's when we started expanding out of state. And that was the beginning of what New American Funding is today, as far as being a national direct lender with multiple locations and thousands of employees across the country.
What a story, man. From there to closing over $2 billion on a monthly basis is truly like a testimony of like that leap of faith that Patty and Rick took initially, and that vision that they executed to provide us all with the platform that we're so passionate about, because it's not just a company that is ran by like a board or publicly traded. It's that one vision of Patty and Rick and all of us falling in line and are all like excited about executing it.
I mean, to be honest with you, Tanya, and I'm sure you feel the same. And obviously, this is the theme of today's live here. One of the, I mean, and we're going to go deeper on what we love about NAP, but one of the things that I really love is, regardless of the growth we've had, I mean, it's still it's got a very mom and pop feel to it.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because
Absolutely.
anybody in the company can, and I get these comments all the time from new hires all across the country, where all of our leadership is accessible, obviously by email, in many cases even by cell phone. All of our executive leadership, no one is in a glass pedestal and untouchable or whatever. That does not exist here. I mean, everybody is accessible and responsive.
And the culture here,
Part of
from
it.
Christy, from Jan, from Sam, from Patty, from Rick, from you, from all of the regionals, throughout the country. I think that that's just something that's like incredible to be a part of, and why I'm like so passionate about sharing and like introducing New American Funding to new loan officers that might want to come on board. Right now with the rate change environment, I think that the vision that Rick and Patty had with Isla and marrying both of those worlds, the call center with the retail side, is brilliant. And it allows the company to provide loan officers with leads, and then the loan officers can provide them to the real estate agents. And so like all in all, we're closing that like full circle.
Story. That's
Hold on.
okay.
Something fell. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Ah! There.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like I was saying, I'm excited to talk about your story, because your story is a story that I share with a lot of prospective recruits that I talk to on a daily basis, and I always use you as an example, right? Earlier, I was talking about taking the leap of faith. I think you took the leap of faith in me, in New American Funding, and I mean, congratulations on all of your success, because every year it seems like your production, your team, year over year over year for the last 8 years continues to increase. Okay.
Man, I mean, I go back and I think about that day when you walked in, and I must say that was pretty gutsy. Is that a word?
Absolutely.
So you were introduced by a mutual friend at the time, and you came to El Paso, and you walked into my office at the bank that I worked at, and all I remember thinking, because
We're kind of like an inch thick bulletproof in there or something.
yeah, I mean, I would never take any calls from recruiters. I like to, my yeses are yeses, and that means in like work, I don't like to be double-minded. I don't like to contemplate other options or anything like that. So when I was at the bank, I didn't really ever talk to any recruiters. And so the way that you approached it by walking into my office was a blessing, for me, because otherwise I don't think that I would have taken the call if it was just a phone call. And so it opened up my curiosity to know more about the company. And when you shared that it was owned by a Latina and a woman, and then I researched her and the company and everything else, it just really fell in line to where I saw my career going in the mortgage industry. And so for that, I'm thankful, Frank, because otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
And every time I see you, obviously we always talk about this, and we see ourselves with a lot of really good friendship. I mean, it goes beyond friendship, because I know New American Funding has impacted your life in many, many ways.
Absolutely.
And I'm super grateful and happy to have you on board and continue to work with you. even though you're in Texas and El Paso, I'm here, but we still work together on Latino Focus, which we're both passionate about. So I'm just really grateful and happy for all of your success. But before we go any further, what I want to talk to the audience about is how you came over, and basically you were a one-person team, if I recall. Maybe you had an assistant or two,
So
but
my personal production, when I came over, my personal production, it was just myself and Denise, which she's still with us, and she's really like the mortgage, like she's mom, like Google.
that, that was it. I mean, it was just one or two, maybe three people
For
who.
for my personal production, I don't know if you remember, but back then, the bank that I worked for shared with us that they were selling. And when we found out who they were selling to, we knew that that bank didn't have a long-term interest in the mortgage department or in the mortgage world. And so all of us came on board. So when we all came on board, it was about 50 of us.
Mhm.
So it was a really big team that we all ended up coming on board, and really is what allowed us to gain so much market share so quickly in El Paso. And because I think that there was a big void when we initially introduced New American Funding to El Paso, of the type of lender like New American Funding that offered the lower credit scores, thinking outside the box, underwriting, manual underwrite, and just really affording. When you talked about like Hispanic lending, El Paso, we're 80-something% Hispanic, and so we work differently, we save our money differently, we talk differently, and to be able to provide the community with an outlet to where we were going to be able to close their loans, I thought was like an amazing testimony. Not only that, but that we were 23% of the loans, 20 to 25% year over year, have been denied elsewhere. And when you think about that number, on how many loans we're closing, that's over 200, 300 families that would have been denied elsewhere that we're still able to provide financing for. And that right there, I think, is when you humanize the process, man, like there's no limit.
Do me a favor, walk us through the evolution of Tanya Murray, like from your first year of production at NAF to 2021, as far as units and volume.
So I think one thing that is really cool and that is not very common in the industry outside of New American Funding is to be able to produce and manage. So I'm the regional manager for Texas and New Mexico, and I'm still producing. And I think that's very important to be able to lead
I,
from the front.
I agree.
And there's no way that I'd be able to do the numbers that the amount of families that we help if it wasn't for the platform that New American Funding provides. Obviously the team, obviously, we've got really good systems in place. But when I initially came on board, I was probably closing right around 30 million, 20 to 30 million. And I stood right around that line, 30 to 40. I couldn't really break. That was kind of where we were at. And the last 3 years, I'm almost at 100 million, which
Wow.
is, I know in California, that's probably not a lot, but in
Oh,
Texas,
that's a
that's a
lot.
lot of families. So we're helping about personal production, about 500 families a year. And that to me is, I love it because every file is a family. I get invested into every single transaction. The team and I have a really good system in place, but it's truly a testimony to the platform that New American Funding gives us to be able to, whatever, no matter what region or how you manage your company, we don't force people to do it our way. And our way is the only way. You can do it however you like and use as many resources as possible and make it to where it's like your system. And that's what I love about New American Funding, because it's not like you have to do it this way. And they've allowed us to grow the region and to grow our people and to do what we're doing. So it's kind of like an enhancement.
Yeah, excellent. Now, the other thing I wanted you to share, Tanya, is share how you've leveraged Latino Focus for your growth in production and recruitment in your market. How has that helped you?
Well, I mean, El Paso's like all of us are Hispanic here, and if we're not Hispanic, we're married to a Hispanic, and the community, you know, it's very the Hispanic community here is very prevalent, and uh, and like I said earlier, understanding how to underwrite those loans, understanding that sometimes they're going to have cash deposits, understanding that sometimes it's going to be a manual underwrite. Having the option of the technology, but still having the brick and mortar for people to come in and us hold our hand from start to finish is very important. And recruiting wise, you know, I think it's instrumental because we have a bigger vision of not just being a company for profit. You know, obviously we're a for-profit company, but like that's not our only objective. Like I always say, Frank, I always say money's not my driving factor. Helping people is really my driving factor, and to be able to work for a company that's the same like vision is in business, I think is super cool.
One other thing that comes to mind that I love about NAF is in the 20 plus years that I've been here, and I can say this honestly, sincerely, another thing I love about New American Funding and Rick and Patty is that it it seems, I mean, it's reality because I've seen it happen, that we're all step or two ahead of everybody else in the industry. Okay. And right now we're seeing it with what? With buyer accept. We're
Right.
seeing it, and I'll let you talk a little bit about that. So right now we're seeing it with the buyer accept program. We're seeing it with the introduction of local buyer connect. You talked about that, and I'm going to let you elaborate on that as well. I think those two pieces, and now the third piece is this new CDFI bank that
Man,
we're
that's like
that we're working on. So right there, those are three major components and examples of New American Funding being two or three steps ahead of the game. So having said that, talk to us a little bit about Buyer Accept and how that program is really making a difference in your market.
I mean, I don't know of any other like company that's offering those three programs that you just talked about, and having the ability to offer, especially in a market, you know, that we're coming out of 2020, 2021, inventory is short. You really have to think outside the box as a real estate agent to get your buyers offers accepted, and for us to quickly um, I mean, it was an idea that one of the regionals, Milt, brought to the table, I want to say, and in less than 2 weeks, it was like executed. And I think that that's where leadership at New American Funding, they take all of our ideas and they act upon them. It's not like you're just going to put them in a box and then like, let's see if we can get to it next year. If it's a good idea, they act on it right away. And it allows like the agents.
For anybody that might have joined or who may know what Buyer Accept is, can you give them a real high level overview of what the program is?
Let's have you do that, Frank. Don't put me on the spot.
Great save. Okay. Well, here's the way that I pitch Buyer Accept is very simple. Okay.
Cash offer.
No, here's what the way I pitch it. We turn pre-approved buyers into cash buyers.
There you go.
Period. Okay. And as long as the buyers, the pre-approved buyers, are putting at least 10% down and they have a 680 FICO, we can turn those pre-approved buyers, if they're pre-approved for FHA, VA, conventional, and now jumbo. So basically, every single program out there except non-QM, we can turn those pre-approved buyers into cash buyers. How do we do that? We have a third party LLC and a division of New American Funding where we basically have an account with millions of dollars in there, and we use those funds to basically acquire and secure the property that our pre-approved buyer wants. We buy it cash. We buy it cash and then turn around and finance it right back to them. There is a small convenience fee for doing it, but in this competitive market,
It
that
gets them the house.
that convenience fee is minimal, insignificant to the value that we bring to the buyers and to the agents. For any buyers agents or even listing agents that are watching this, it's a phenomenal program in this market.
We all know that the sellers are looking to see what kind of financing the buyer is getting. And if it goes from an FHA to a cash buyer, I mean, absolutely, it's going to take
That's a
precedence. And
big time game changer.
for sure, for sure. Talk a little bit about the CDFI, and I don't know how much we can say because I know we're just in the process of rolling it out, but it's
Yeah.
something that when Rick's video came out, I was super excited because I know it's going to make a big difference in our community.
Yeah, and you're right. We still, I haven't gotten any details of it, but from what I do know, it's going to allow us to create our own programs in low to moderate income areas, because that's the whole point of having this access to the CDFI bank. It's going to put us in a position to come up with our own programs that are going to benefit basically all the borrowers that are being left out of the box that don't fit within conventional Fannie, Freddie, FHA.
The agency guidelines.
Yes, it's going to allow us to create and develop those outside the box programs. So that is super exciting, and that is a game changer for all of the underserved communities across the country. Huge opportunities.
Yeah, Frank, I mean, with all of those opportunities and then with the Buyer Connect, where corporate's spending whatever amount of money it is on a monthly basis for them to cultivate all of these leads, they go through the call center, they vet them out, these warm leads go to the local loan officers, and then we're able to refer them out to the partners that are on RE Connect. I mean, that right there, even if you didn't have CDFI, even if you didn't have it doesn't matter, with that ability to hand these leads to the agents, to the buyer, to the loan officers. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean, with Local Connect, for any loan officers that may watch this video, I mean, what a great opportunity. If you're stuck, I don't know, in El Paso, my guess is the average loan officer, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to guess that the average loan officer, producing loan officer, closes anywhere between 5 and 6 loans a month, and they're doing a volume of about $1 million to $1.25 million. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And you and I know that there's loan officers that are, for whatever reason, stuck at that level. You mentioned that it even happened to you for a while, right? So we all know this. As loan officers, you get to a point, whether it's support, lack of marketing, whatever it is, there's a multitude of reasons why we get stuck. So Local Buyer Connect is one of those tools in your arsenal that can unstuck you, okay? How could it unstuck you? Because all you have to do is opt in. It's not mandatory. Just opt in on your phone. Yes, I want to receive incoming, scrubbed, hot purchase leads. Once you opt in, all you have to do is answer your phone. A lot of these applicants, they've already even completed a 1003 that's already in your email when you get the call. It's called a Rapid app.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a phenomenal program. I mean, Rick Arvielo is the mastermind behind that. And this is the future of our business, okay? We know, we've been talking about it for a long time. Millennials, Hispanials, they're here. They're the next wave of purchase buyers. They're here. It's happening now, okay? And we've already mastered the science of how to find them online, like you said, route them to our call center, and then from our call center, push them out to all of the local loan officers in their communities. That way they can make the rapport with that client and refer them off to a business partner of their choice or a business partner within our directory.
Even if it adds, Frank, 2 deals a month, I mean, a little bit of money is better than no money. And then it gives you the opportunity to hand over a approved referral to your agent. It's just all the way around. It's just a great opportunity to grow your business.
And then what about the loan officers who already have a decent book of business that are maybe doing 10 units a month, 2 million a month, okay? But who want to grow a team, Okay. What a better way to feed their team with purchase leads and grow the team. Okay. I know a lot of successful loan officers at New American Funding who are doing that. They're successful, but they want to start building this team. Now it enables them to hire loan officers from other companies that may be struggling, that are just doing 2 or 3 loans. With this program, they will instantly turn them into 5 to 7 deals a month, almost instantly, just by the fact that they can tap into these purchase leads. And the beauty is that these are all well qualified purchase leads. They've already been scrubbed by our call center.
Right. Man, I mean, with those 3 things right there, there's just like so much opportunity and so many things that New American Funding is doing to not just help the consumer, but the loan officer be successful at our careers, for us to be able to get to that next level. And then what good is all of this stuff is if you don't have the operations, but that's where we thrive.
Exactly.
Man, like our underwriting, our processing, our operations manager. And I think that the secret sauce, and I won't say what it is, but is for everybody to be invested.
That's right.
And New American Funding has figured out a way to make it to where the processor is invested into the transaction, the underwriter, the PA, the processing, everybody is invested. And that really makes the process really fluid. It makes it really efficient and fast. And I think, at the end of the day, you can get all these leads and you can give all these like agents, all these like shiny products, but if you can't deliver, if you can't execute, what does it matter? And that's where we really thrive.
I agree. Yeah, these are exciting times. I mean, if you turn on the news, I mean, like today, I was going through my emails, Housing Wire, National Mortgage News, and there's all these kind of bad news about rates, right? Rates are going up, refis are going away, loan officers are starting to shift to the purchase market. I mean, that's what we've been doing the last 5 years. I mean, especially markets like you. I mean, you're running what? 80% purchase, or maybe.
Oh man, we're like at 95. We're like 95% purchase.
Yeah, that's insane. But obviously it's a testament to you that you're leveraging all of our tools, the products specifically for your purchase business. So obviously in markets like yours or individuals like you've got nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
And that's why I thought it was really important for us to get on this live, Frank, because I want to share this information with as many people as possible, as many loan officers as possible, because New American Funding has built it, and the region has brought it to the table. We have great processing, great underwriting, the operations, the systems, and the leadership in place to be able to take their 3 to 5 loans to the next level. Invested in every single loan officer, doing mentorship and thinking outside the box on how we can help and how to build these relationships. And why wouldn't you want to be a part of something like this,
Exactly. You know what, Tanya? I agree with you 100% that the timing for you and I to be on here couldn't be better. Okay. Again, sure. There are a lot of loan officers out there that are, I don't want to say scared, but starting to get concerned. Is my company thinking the right way? What's our next move? Why are we downsizing operations? What are we doing with marketing? There's all these questions now that the refis are gone, that are running through loan officers' minds, right?
And it doesn't hurt to have a conversation. I mean, it's confidential. Have a conversation. And I say this really truly because, I mean, imagine if I wouldn't have had that conversation with you, Frank, that 7-8 years ago, then, the region, what it looks like today, it would be very different. And so we've got opportunities in San Antonio. We've got opportunities in Lubbock. We're growing Texas aggressively, New Mexico and Albuquerque, and just really ready to get to that next, not just for growth, but to be able to invest into those communities, to be able to invest into the people that come on board.
To make a difference. At the end of the day, I mean, you and I always talk about it. I mean, at the end of the day, in our careers, 5, 10 years down the line, whatever that looks like, what are we going to look back at? Okay. What impact did we make in our communities? Are they going to remember Tanya? Are people going to remember Frank for what they did in our industry? Okay. That I think should be our ultimate goal. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, that's where it's at, is like being a part of something bigger, uh,
Yes.
and making a difference and giving back. And I mean, you know that I'm very strong in my faith.
Yep.
And I know that at the end of the day, that there's so much more than just a clear to close. I mean, clear to closes are great, but being invested into people, opportunities, home ownership opportunities, I mean, all kinds of different, like, we could really be a blessing.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Well, I think we're running out of time here unless you had some final thoughts or
Give
comments.
me three things that you love about NAF, and then we'll say bye to everybody.
Okay, so 3 things, that's tough. That's tough. But number one, I'm going to have to say is our commitment and passion to serving the underserved. Number one. Number two, I'm going to have to say our leadership engagement. Okay, that's number two. I love our leadership. How they're very forward thinking, very open minded, and open to our suggestions. Number two. Number three has to be marketing and technology. Okay, we're a marketing mortgage machine.
I love it, Frank. For those of you guys that don't follow me on YouTube, I have a YouTube channel that we released 2 weeks ago. It's called CTC Wealth. I'll be talking about best business practices and pretty much what the process looks like from start to finish. We're doing the 5 M's, which is ministry, mortgage, money, marketplace, and marriage. So just to kind of keep the topics kind of fun.
Awesome.
By the Murrays. How cheesy are we? But I just really want to share this information, Frank. I think the company is great. I love being a part of it. I thank you for taking your time on Valentine's Day to share what we love about NAF.
Likewise. Yeah, let's do it more often.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. You guys enjoy and have a great rest of the evening.
Happy Valentine's.
Thank you, Frank. Bye, everybody.
Bye.